In the fog-shrouded town of Whisper Bay, where the Pacific Ocean crashed eternally against jagged cliffs, life moved at the pace of the tides, slow, predictable, and unforgiving. The locals clung to their routines like barnacles to rocks, whispering about the old legends of ships vanishing into the mist, never to return. But those were just stories, relics of a bygone era, until Sarah disappeared. Sarah Ellis was the kind of woman who lit up the dimmest rooms. At 28, she worked at the local lighthouse museum, curating artifacts from wrecks long forgotten. Her laughter echoed through the narrow streets, and her wild auburn hair caught the wind like a flag of defiance against the perpetual gray skies. She was my older sister, my anchor in a world that had already taken our parents in a car accident years ago. We shared a cramped cottage on the edge of town, overlooking the bay where the water seemed to swallow secrets whole. It started on a Tuesday evening in late autumn. The air was thick with salt and impending rain. Sarah had been restless all day, packing the kitchen with her phone clutched in her hand. "I need to clear my head," she said, slipping on her red raincoat, the one with the hood that framed her face like a portrait. "Just a walk along the cliffs. Won't be long." I remember nodding from the couch, half absorbed in a book. "Be careful, the fog's rolling in thick tonight." She smiled, that reassuring smile of hers, the one that said everything would be fine. But as she stepped out the door, a chill settled in my bones that had nothing to do with the weather. Emily, that's me, always the worrier, the younger sister who overthought every shadow. Hours passed, the clock ticked mercilessly. By midnight I was packing myself, the cottage feeling emptier than ever. I called her phone, it went straight to voicemail. "Hey, it's Sarah, leave a message, if you're lucky I'll call back." Her voice, so alive, mocked the silence. I texted, "Where are you?" Getting worried, no response. Panic gnawed at the edges of my mind, but I told myself she might have stopped at O'Malley's pub for a drink, lost track of time. By dawn, the panic had bloomed into full terror. I drove to the cliff path, the one she loved for its solitude. Her car was still parked at the trailhead, keys in the ignition, as if she'd meant to come right back. The fog clung to everything, reducing visibility to a few feet. I shouted her name until my throat burned. "Sarah, Sarah." Only the waves answered, crashing below like indifferent applause. The police arrived by mid-morning. Sheriff Harlan, a grizzled man in his 50s with a mustache that hid his perpetual frown, took my statement. "We'll find her, Emily. Probably just wandered off, got turned around in the fog." But his eyes betrayed doubt. Whisper Bay had seen disappearances before, hikers, fishermen, but they were always explained away. Accidents, suicides, the sea claiming its due. They searched for days. Divers combed the waters at the cliff base, but the currents were treacherous, known to drag bodies miles out. Helicopters buzzed overhead, their blades slicing through the mist. Volunteers from town trudged the paths, calling out. I joined them, my boots sinking into the mud, heart pounding with every rustle in the underbrush. We found nothing. No body, no clues. Just her red raincoat, snagged on a thorny bush halfway down the trail, smeared with mud but no blood. It smelled like her, lavender shampoo and sea salt. The town buzzed with theories. Old Mrs. Whitaker at the general store whispered about the bay ghosts, spirits of drowned sailors who lured the living to join them. Tom Riley, the fisherman with one eye scarred from a hook accident, swore he'd seen a shadowy figure on the cliffs that night, watching from afar. But when pressed, he clammed up, muttering about not getting involved. I couldn't let it go. While the official search dwindled after a week, resources stretched thin in a small town, I delved deeper. Sarah's laptop revealed little at first. Emails about work, photos of us smiling on the beach. But then I found a hidden folder, password protected. It took me hours to crack it, our mother's maiden name. Inside were scanned documents, old newspaper clippings from the 1980s about a string of unsolved disappearances in Whisper Bay. 5 women, all in their 20s, vanished without trace over a decade. The articles hinted at a pattern: last seen near the cliffs, personal items left behind. The cases went cold, attributed to accidents or runaways. Why had Sarah been researching this? Had she stumbled onto something? I confronted Sheriff Harlan with the files. He leaned back in his creaky chair, rubbing his temples. Ancient history, Emily. Those were different times, no connection. But his voice wavered and he avoided my gaze. I pressed. What if it's the same person or a copycat? He sighed. You're grasping at straws. Go home, Grieve. We'll keep the case open. Grieve as if she were dead. No, Sarah was out there. I could feel it, a persistent tug in my gut like an invisible thread connecting us. Nights blurred into days as I pored over maps, marking the old disappearance sites. They formed a rough circle around the bay with our cliff path at the center. Coincidence or something sinister? Tension coiled tighter when the anonymous calls started. The first came at 2 a.m. a week after she vanished. My phone rang, unknown number. I answered, heart racing. Silence at first, then heavy breathing. Stop digging, a distorted voice hissed. Or you'll join her. Click. I reported it to the sheriff, but tracing led nowhere. Burner phone, they said. The calls escalated. Sometimes just breathing, other times whispers. She knew too much. The bay keeps its secrets. I changed my number, but they found the new one. Paranoia set in. Was that shadow outside my window a tree branch or someone watching? The creak of floorboards, house settling, or footsteps? I installed cameras, but they captured nothing unusual. Yet the feeling persisted, eyes on me always. One rainy afternoon, I visited the Lighthouse Museum where Sarah worked. Her boss, Mr. Langford, a reclusive man in his 60s with a limp from an old injury, greeted me stiffly. Terrible business, he muttered, avoiding eye contact. I wandered the exhibits, hopping for insight. In a back room among dusty relics, I found a locked drawer in Sarah's desk. Forcing it open, forgive me, Sarah, I discovered a journal. Her handwriting filled the pages, frantic in places. Entries dated back months, heard whispers in the fog today, not wind voices. Found an old map in the archives, marked spots where the women vanished. Langford caught me looking, got angry. Someone's following me. Felt it on the walk home. The last entry, the day she disappeared, confronting him tonight. Can't ignore it anymore. If something happens, tell Emily it's under the light. Under the light, the lighthouse. My pulse thundered. That evening, I drove to the old beacon at the bay's edge, its beam cutting through the dusk like a warning. The structure was abandoned now, automated years ago, but accessible via a rusty gate. I slipped inside, flashlight beam dancing over graffiti-covered walls. Up the spiral stairs, wind howling through cracks. At the top, beneath the massive lens, I searched. Floorboards loose, prying one up revealed a small metal box. Inside, photos, grainy and old. Women from the 80s clippings, but these showed them alive, laughing with a younger man. I recognized him, Langford, without the limp, handsome and smiling. Notes in Sarah's hand, he was there for all of them. Alibis weak. Why the cover-up? A floorboard creaked behind me. I spun, flashlight illuminating a figure in the doorway. Langford, his face twisted in the shadows. You shouldn't be here, he growled, stepping forward. My heart seized. Was this it? The confrontation Sarah never survived. I backed away, box clutched tight. What did you do to her, to them? He laughed, a hollow sound. You think it's that simple. The bay takes what it wants. I just watch. His eyes gleamed unnaturally in the lighthouse beam. Before I could react, he lunged. I dodged, scrambling down the stairs, his footsteps echoing like thunder. Bursting into the night, rain lashing my face, I ran to my car. Tires screeching, I sped away, glancing in the rear view. No pursuit. But as I caught my breath at home, doors locked, the phone rang again. Unknown. I answered, trembling. Closer than you think, the voice whispered, but not close enough. That was 3 months ago. The sheriff dismissed the photos as circumstantial. Langford had alibis, he claimed, and the man lawyered up quick. No arrests. The calls stopped, but the tension lingers, a constant hum in my veins. I moved out of the cottage, but Whisper Bay's fog follows me everywhere. Sarah's case remains open, unsolved, a file gathering dust. Sometimes in the quiet hours, I swear I hear her voice in the wind, under the light. What else is hidden there? Who else knows? Langford vanished a week after our encounter, another disappearance, they say. But I feel it, this isn't over. The bay hungers still and the shadows are lengthening. If I dig deeper, will I find her? Or will it swallow me too?